Hello, my YouTube friends. Someone had asked me what kind of modifications I had done to the ZELOS 48. So, I figured I should do a video. Besides changing props, the only two modifications I've really done to it. This is the first one. I added extra connectors to the stock ESC. Of course, you can do this with just an adapter. Problem with the adapter is longer wiring, more connectors, more resistance. More resistance means less speed. So I soldered in two more connectors, one on each side, to allow me to either run 2 batteries or 4 batteries. This boat has plenty of room to run 4 batteries. If you decide to go this route, the only thing I would suggest is that you mark the connectors. I put a P on mine. P for primary. The reason is, if you decide to just run 2 batteries, I would plug them into the original wires, into the original connectors, not the secondary one that was soldered in. If you run 4 batteries, then just plug in 4 batteries. But if you run 2, I would definitely plug them into the original primary connector. But that's the first modification I did to the boat. The second modification has to do with the rudder. Those of you that are familiar with this boat know what you have to do to maintain the boat. What I ended up doing is just flipping the rudder around. Most boats run the rudder on the right, but it was pretty easy to move the rudder to the left. This boat comes with the rudder in the center. There's two benefits of doing this. One, you're taking the rudder out of the prop wash. So I have not noticed a benefit, but at least on paper, taking the rudder out of the prop wash should make the boat a tiny bit faster. Like I said, I have not noticed a difference, but on paper it should be a little bit faster. The big benefit of doing this is you guys that have this boat know you have to pull the rudder off in order to pull the drive shaft off. By flipping the rudder around, all you have to do is loosen the collet inside of the boat, and you can pull the drive shaft out and clean it, maintain it, lube it, what have you, without having to touch the rudder. Now here's what I had to do this. First, flip the bracket around. The second thing you have to do is this piece right here has a small hole and a big hole. When you flip the bracket around, what ends up happening is the holes are on the wrong end. So the upper hole now becomes the small hole. Hardest part of this modification was finding a 4mm drill bit. I had to go to 3 stores to get a 4mm drill bit, but got a 4mm drill bit. I drilled that piece out, and that allowed me to mount that piece basically upside down and mount it to the original rudder. Only thing you have to do after that is switch the throw on your radio system. I can't remember if I went from standard to reverse or from reverse to standard, but either way you have to go the opposite of what it is right now. Otherwise, when you flip the bracket around, if you don't change that on your radio, when you turn right, the boat's actually going to turn left. So that's just a simple flip of a switch. Another thing that I am working on, I have not done this yet. I'm sure you're noticing my strut, but real quick, if you need a strut, I think the rudder's the same too. Definitely the strut's the same. I couldn't find a ZELOS strut, but I found a Rockstar strut, and it's exactly the same. So If you need one, you're in a bind, you can use the Rockstar Strut. It is obviously a different color, but other than that, it's the same and it works perfectly. But another thing that I've been working on this thing is trying to raise the strut. I'm going to try to film this, but the strut on this boat, for some weird reason, is it's about 6 millimeters below the bottom of the boat. Not sure you can see it from that angle, but let's try this. The strut is 6 millimeters below the bottom of the boat. People think this boat has a porpoising issue, and it really has a prop walking issue. I think this is the reason, since the center line of the drive shaft is below the bottom of the hull. What ends up happening is the prop lifts the back of the boat out of the water, and I think it actually starts teeter-tottering on the sponsoons. So I think that has a little bit to do with the handling issues of it. But what I had done is I took my original strut, which is really beat up. Bearing was wore out. I already replaced the bearing once in it, so I figured if I ruin this one while doing this, it won't be that big of a deal. But those are the original holes. I drilled 3 extra holes, and I plan on cutting that section off like that and mounting the strut with those 3 holes there. What I will have to do that is I will have to reshape the stuffing tube. So I'm going to have to bend the stuffing tube a little closer to here and then bring it closer to the bottom of the boat. Not yet sure how this is going to work out for me, but I will certainly attempt to do this. Most boats run the strut 1/16 of an inch, maybe 1/8 of an inch above the bottom of the sponsoons, and on this one it's a good 6 millimeters below. So hopefully raising it will make this thing handle a little better. I don't know yet. It's something that I'm going to work on. But 2 modifications, rudder being one, much simpler maintenance, and the extra connectors on the speed controllers are basically the only 2 modifications done to this boat. So that's all I got. Thanks for watching.